Home and Away stays in 5th place in my soap opera rankings for July 2022. You know, much like the other 6 storylines below Home and Away in my rankings, Home and Away also has its own problems. Like, the top 4 the month of July all deserve it because they are all objectively better than the other 7 soap operas below it, and Home and Away is in those 7 soap operas because it has its own set of problems. The big problem on Home and Away is all of the exits. There are so many exits going on at once on Home and Away that it makes it very hard for any of these storylines to be consistent in any way, let alone being consistently entertaining. And this is a problem because of COVID and because of the vaccine mandates in Australia. And they also have actors and actresses leaving the show because they want to travel after all of the COVID lockdowns in Australia. Australia was very extreme about this. So that's left a lot of the stories kind of with abrupt endings and kind of making it hard for them to write other characters out of this, because we've had to see the show end a lot of relationships somewhat off screen and just somewhat out of nowhere. We had Bella leave town, and now Nikau has to break up with her while she's out of town because Nikau, I guess, is going through it, wants to move on, doesn't like the long distance relationship. Going through this whole storyline with the gang, the biker gang, which I'll get into here in a second. And then there's, of course, Cash and Jasmine. Jasmine left town, and Cash almost had a thing with her sister Rose. They continued to write that weird and too slowly for my liking. But now Jasmine is supposed to return, and Cash is excited and waiting for her and even thinking about proposing, but she never shows up and she's gone missing. And this, of course, worries Cash. So because of all of these exits, like I've talked about in I think the last 2 videos for Home and Away, we also have a lot of new characters, something that always bothers me on these soaps. If you look at Home and Away and my disdain for that show right now, it's because of all of these influx of not so interesting new characters being shoved down our throats. Now Home and Away didn't have that choice because of the vaccine mandates, and they lost a lot of characters and now have to have a lot of new characters. The main ones seem to be Felicity's band, which I'm having a very hard time connecting with. But the reason that Home and Away is still higher than a lot of these other shows, it's a testament to the show to be able to lose a lot of characters, gain a lot of new characters, and still manage to keep it more interesting or more entertaining than a lot of these other soaps below it. By the time this video debuts, the sister show to Home and Away, Neighbours, will have aired its last episode ever, leaving Home and Away the only Australian soap opera left, and the only soap opera from Australia left in my rankings going forward. So Home and Away has a lot on its shoulders to carry Australia in my rankings, I guess. But I still think the show managed to stay entertaining despite a lot of exits and despite a lot of new characters. They are at least trying. But then they also lost the character of Chloe, a character I've liked in her relationship with Theo. For me, of all the exits, this one hits me the hardest because I've enjoyed a lot of Chloe's stories. They've made her interesting, but they sent her to New Zealand to be with her mother. And so that leaves Theo kind of in this storyline to join Felicity's friends band as the new singer. And I have to say, you know, a lot of soaps, even General Hospital currently, trying to make their characters some singer doesn't work because it comes across as cringe. The singing's usually somewhere between okay to downright bad. But I actually think Theo is a good singer. So the story works for the character because the actor can actually sing, which is a plus. And the main excitement is coming from this biker gang and a lot of the characters getting involved with this, and Rose's boyfriend, new fling Tex, is also involved with that gang. So we're going to see a lot of Rose investigating Tex while she still dates him. I like the character of Rose. Of all of the new characters, she is my favorite so far. So I will be interested to see where they continue to go with the biker gang and all the robberies going in town, and what that means for Tex, and what that means for Rose's potential future relationship with Cash. Something I'm rooting to see. Also, Rose's brother Xander continues his story of where he has this, I would call it a hero complex. He's this paramedic who cares way too much about his patients, and he's trying to get over that. So we're gonna see some development with his character going forward too. They have to develop these new characters. Hopefully I can connect with Felicity's friends, because I have yet. I don't even know their names yet, but I think one's name is Lyric, and that's all. So hopefully I will learn their names and actually get invested in their characters going forward, because if not, we have to add Home and Away to this growing list of soap operas that are kind of hard to watch, and I need more from these shows to continue to do these rankings, because a lot of them just continue to let me down with their writing and their bad decisions. But I guess I give Home and Away the benefit of the doubt because of the way they lost a lot of characters because of COVID and because of the vaccine mandates in Australia, that I am trying to give it some hope going forward, that they will be able to turn it back around, and they will eventually make all of the new characters interesting, hopefully, and maybe Home and Away can get back to the vibe I used to love from it, to be this super over-the-top, dramatic soap opera. This show needs to develop a huge story. I need an umbrella story like we got last fall from this show, because it's missing that. It's going through a lot of changes, and I get it. It's hard to stay consistent with the writing, and that's why Home and Away just isn't higher in my rankings right now, because I still can find it to be entertaining, but the writing is all over the place because of all of the changes.